whole earth in chains and silence bowed the neck before its tyrants. You had already proclaimed the truths which they abhor, and confounding the dust of the kings with that of the meanest slave, had announced to man the sacred dogma of equality. Part 1. The Genius. Well, now, let me tell you all a story about a fellow who wandered clean across the old lands of Syria and Egypt, out where the wind talks more than the people do, and the sun's got a hard light that don't hide nothing. This stranger wasn't riding for cattle or gold, no sir. He was riding for the truth, whatever shape it took. And when he found out there, among the sand and the stone, wasn't some tall tale or fairy tale neither. It was the quiet sermon of time itself. He come upon a place called Palmyra, what used to be a jewel of a city, dressed in marble and crowned with temples, but now just bones of buildings and the silence of something that died proud. He walked through it like a man in a cemetery, except the gravestones were broken columns and the names had all worn off. Didn't matter much, though, king or pauper, slave or emperor. They was all dust now, stirred by the same desert wind. That man sat down on a chunk of old ruin, just as the sun tucked itself behind the hills and the moon rose like a silver dollar over the Euphrates. The air was still, like even the land was holding its breath. And right then and there, that silence didn't just hush his voice, it cracked open his thoughts. He didn't see the glory of ancient times, but the warning. Not a paradise lost, but a pattern repeatin'. And he started thinking. Not daydreaming, but real pondering. The kind that kicks dust up in your soul. Why had these cities fallen? Why did their towers lie like felled trees, their streets no better than goat paths? Was it the wrath of heaven? The spin of the stars? No, he said, it was folks, just plain folks. Men with power who forgot what it was for. Greed, ignorance, tyranny. The usual poisons poured into the well of civilization till the whole town choked on it. Those ruins, they weren't just cracked stones. They were the leftovers of laws broken, of justice sold cheap. He could see it clear. When you turn your back on fairness, when you build your house on the backs of others, you're setting it up to fall. And fall it did, over and over, like a wheel that forgot to stop rolling. But he didn't end there, with his head in his hands, no sir. Even among the ruins he found a kind of hope. Not the kind with trumpets and banners, but the kind you find in hard-earned truths. He figured that maybe the ruins could still teach. Maybe they were a kind of school made of silence, where the tuition was listening close. Stones don't lie, and if you lean in real quiet, they'll tell you how not to make the same mistakes again. That's what the man carried with him as he stood and walked off into the night. Not sorrow, not glory, just the simple, steady feeling that truth, once found, don't need to be shouted. It just needs to be remembered. And just when he thought the night would hold him in silence alone, the air shimmered, thin at first, like heat rising off a trail, then thick and certain, until out of that shimmer stepped a figure. Not flesh, not shadow, but something caught between. A genius. Old as the stones and clear as the stars. The cowboy froze, hand near his sidearm, but the figure only raised its gaze, eyes lit like coals that had never gone out, and in a voice that seemed to come not from lips, but from the very breath of the desert, it said, "These ruins you walk among, they are my ledger. I am the keeper of their tale, the witness of men's rise and fall. You have come not just to see, but to hear. Sit still, rider, and I'll tell you the long story of this place, how power turned to dust, how wisdom was squandered, and how the lessons of the dead still wait to be learned by the living."